Many thanks for joining us, dear viewers. This is our weekly program, Future Africa. We go on the move by hosting this program. Have a beautiful time. Today, I'm joined by one Ethiopian from America, and his name is Nebiyu Asfaw. Nebiyu Asfaw is a social justice advocate and hashtag normal global organizer. Nebiyu, many thanks for joining me and welcome to this program.
Thank you so much, Okaba. I really appreciate you having me on your program today.
Great. Just to start with, would you mind please to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Nebiyu Asfaw. I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm a social justice advocate, and we advocate for our motherland, Ethiopia. And more recently, we've been organizing the hashtag No More movement globally in over 30 countries.
All right, that's great. So today we'll discuss more about the current affairs in Ethiopia in relation with the hashtag No More campaign internationally. So just to start with, how do you express the ongoing hashtag No More campaign and the change it is making at the moment internationally?
Yeah, so the hashtag No More movement has really taken the world by storm, with concerned pro-peace citizens across the globe from varying backgrounds and ages, including activists, scholars, diplomats, all using the hashtag to express what's happening in the Horn of Africa, mainly the conflict in northern Ethiopia. And the overwhelming sentiment of these voices is it's against what's perceived as the undue pressure, interference, and sanctions against Ethiopia, its ally Eritrea, and more recently, Somalia has also joined. So we're saying no more to this interventions and sanctions and interferences in the Horn of Africa, and really across the whole continent of Africa.
That's great. In general, Nebiyu, how do you express the Twitter campaign of Ethiopia's current resistance to the modern neocolonization movement? How do you express in general?
Yeah, it's about the movement is highlighting and to counter the coordinated attack on Western countries. It's to defend Ethiopia from undue Western dominance because the Ethiopian people want to define their own destiny. And Ethiopia is a young democracy, and democracy is something that should be protected and nourished. And from the campaign perspective for external observers, the conflict in Ethiopia might seem like an internal conflict. While that is true, the depth of the conflict is really about what you mentioned as neocolonialism, which is the undue, foreign interference to really dominate and subjugate the people of Ethiopia. And throughout Africa, we've seen and we've witnessed some Western powers installing puppet regimes, basically denying the people. And Ethiopia is going the right direction, and Ethiopia is a free and sovereign nation. And Ethiopian children all over the world, we just cannot stand by and watch while there is a coordinated attack for the country to break the country apart, where terrorist organizations, destructive organizations are tearing, and while media and Western powers are really sabotaging the Ethiopian democracy. So, it's about, and this problem is not several African countries that are going through this. So it's about coming together and thinking big, not just as Ethiopians, but as Africans, and really about fighting back.
In relation to the No More campaign, what were the major challenges that you guys faced while leading this campaign internationally, and for the future, what should be done in order to overcome the challenges and register more success in this regard?
Yeah, that's a good question. Initially, when we started the campaign right after the war started earlier in the year, a lot of these campaigns, this global political campaigns, happened in Twitter. Most Ethiopians were on. So, but at the time, there was this thing called Digital Wayane that was very coordinated, and that was disseminated, and the Ethiopian voices were overwhelmed. But over months of coordinated activism and rallying the Ethiopian people, we were able to get a of Ethiopians and pro-peace voices onto Twitter. That way we could have a voice, and that has enabled us to challenge the media, the Western media, that has enabled our communities to directly reach policymakers in the United States and the European Union, the United Nations. So it's really been a game changer for the movement and for adding the voice of Ethiopia to the global community, because the Western media was not doing that. There was only one side that was being heard. The TPLF was being seen as a victim, even though they were the ones that were victimizing the Ethiopian people. The Ethiopian government was being demonized, even though it's an electorate that's trying to fulfill its duty of protecting the sovereignty of Ethiopia. So really, the Twitter campaign has been very, very successful. Now, the challenge we're having right now, okay, a lot of silencing, censorship, where activists are getting banned and shut down from Twitter, from the No More movement. The No More Twitter account was shut down. My account was shut down. I am banned from Twitter. Dr. Simon Tesfa Mariam, our Eritrean, has been banned, and several activists, pro-peace activists, has been banned and silenced. But I will tell you this much: they cannot silence 100 million Ethiopians. They cannot silence 1.3 billion. For as long as we continue our unity and speak for peace and speak for freedom and liberty, that we will prevail. In Ethiopia will prevail.
Good. In connection with the movement, the team of the #NoMore campaign also organized the pro-Ethiopia demonstration rally in the capital of Ethiopia in DC in the coming Sunday, January 9, 2022. What was the main objective of that demonstration rally? And I want to hear your reflection about that, please.
I'm excited about this. It's going to be a big, peaceful rally in Addis Ababa in Meskel Square. And, you know, the great Ethiopian homecoming, you have up to 1 million Ethiopians that have come home. And this will be the first time the diaspora and Ethiopians at home stand together and say no more, and say that we are united, we speak with one voice. So just the symbolism of that is just really humongous. It's massive. And it's not just Ethiopians. What you're going to see is a lot of African voices, a lot of African allies, Pan-African allies from all over Africa have traveled back home to Ethiopia. A lot of our brothers and sisters from Eritrea, Somalia are at Addis Ababa right now. So what you're going to see is a true Pan-African movement. Us as people, whether we're in the home, we speak with one voice. And the rally this Sunday in Meskel Square in Addis Ababa represents that. And I invite all who are capable to join this peaceful rally and speak up for our nation.
Nowadays, many African countries, especially the neighboring country, Eritrea, Kenya, Somalia, and others, especially almost all parts of the continent or the African countries are joining the #NoMore campaign and showing solidarity with Ethiopia. What is your comment about that?
It's an amazing time. It's really an amazing time. It feels like the 1960s are back already. If you like to read history in the 1960s, 50s and 60s, when most of the African countries were becoming independent, there was this spirit of unity, African unity. And that's when the African Union, or what was the Organization of African Unity, was brought together, and you had this dynamic African leaders that talked about unity. And that is the spirit that we're seeing today. And it is no wonder that it is triggered here in Ethiopia. The same way as the previous Pan-African movement, Ethiopia had a big role in why the African Union is in Ethiopia. So, especially our Eritrean brothers, Somali, in the Horn of Africa. I mean, the support from Uganda has been enormous and amazing. Kenya, Nigeria, Liberia, so like a magic happening. I'm just really excited to see Africans coming together. Now, it's not just Africa. This is global. So you have and here in the United States, for example, the Black Alliance for Peace have stood up with us. There are several organizations and groups that American groups that are standing with us because they stand for justice. Caribbean nation, Jamaica. There's been big protests in Jamaica in support of Ethiopia just 2 weeks ago. So this is really a truly global movement that is really a sign that we're about to turn the page and we're on the dawn of a new era, a new Africa that really is going to stand up on its own and speak for itself.
How do you evaluate, or what is your comment on the role that Ethiopia diaspora are currently playing to tell the real situation of Ethiopia to the global community, the global organizations and countries?
It's made a huge difference. There has been several legislations, resolutions, for example, very damaging that we're going to pass in the United States and European Union that through advocacy that have been either watered down or avoided. There's still some more that need to be fought. There's some areas where we were not successful, like the delisting of AGOA. That's unfortunate. But the whole perspective of the world, especially ordinary people. I'll give you an example here in the United States. The American people are good people. They're very kind people, and they love Ethiopia. But because the media like CNN were disinforming the American people, they were not aware. But what this movement has done is told the truth to the American people. So now they're asking questions. Why is the Biden administration doing this? And I think that's the key, is making sure that you're awakening ordinary citizens of the world, good people of America, the good people of Europe, that know the truth in it time and time again, that they stand up to us. Because at the end of the day, as human beings, we have to look out for each other, and most people do that. So we have to unite and really stand up to the special interest that really create division and conquer for this interest groups that support terrible organizations like the TPLF. I mean, the world's united. The world government should have united in condemning the TPLF the same way they united against ISIS. That should have happened with the TPLF. But instead, you see this United Nations Security Council hearings, 12, 14, and a year. This is unheard of. So that's what the movement is, and really gaining much success. But there's definitely more work to do.
In response to the call for the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, that made for the diaspora to come and visit Ethiopia in this holiday or the Ethiopian Christmas, more than 1 million Ethiopians are now in home in the Great Ethiopian Homecoming Challenge. What should be their stay in Ethiopia?
Yeah, I mean, this is really great. I want to highlight the powerful symbolism of coming home. Let me remind you, this is the time where, I'll give an example. The United States Embassy today just put out a warning asking citizens to evacuate Ethiopia. They've been saying that for a month, saying that TPLF is about to take Addis Ababa, all this fear mongering that is really designed to isolate Ethiopia and isolate the people of Ethiopia. This 1 million diaspora coming home is a defiance. It's a resistance telling people, and at a time where Ethiopia just got delisted from AGOA, the diaspora has sent 1.6 billion US dollars. This is going to generate a lot of economic activity. But most importantly, there's going to be a number of projects out of this where the diaspora can help in the healing process and the rebuilding process of Ethiopia. As you can see, and completely destroyed. Schools destroyed. So we're going to help rebuild those, and that's what the diaspora is. One thing I want to mention with the trip is there was a challenge that we gave the diaspora. It's called the No More One Bag Challenge. Working with the Ministry of Health, we asked the diaspora, when you go home, take one luggage of medicine, and that has been successful. There's been a receiving office set up at the Bole Airport, and there's so medicine equipment that are coming to Ethiopia, and that's going to continue. And the rebuilding of these hospitals and urgent care centers and schools, we're going to happen. We're going to help Ethiopia throughout the next year or two to make sure that our people are back on their feet.
Great. For the future, what should be the way forward for Ethiopian diaspora in order to participate for the development of their country and helping their people, the needy people here in this country in general? What should be their role in building a very prosperous and developed Ethiopia?
Some people can help with money. Other people can help with their talent, and others can help with their time. But you have to help somehow. And every single one can do and has to do something. And we don't have to wait for a hero. We don't have to wait for someone to come and organize us. It's up to each one of us to take an initiative, and even if it's something small, do it. But one thing I would say is we will continue to be successful if we think big. And thinking big is thinking about the whole nation, avoiding our differences, avoiding things that divide us, and thinking about the big picture, what unites us. Because the unity that we're seeing within the Ethiopian people at home, the unity we see in the diaspora, this is unheard of. We've never seen this. So we have to keep this going. After the war, rebuilding the country, and this is the spirit, this is the energy that's going to transform the Ethiopian nation, that's going to transform Africa, that's going to transform the lives of millions of people. So let's nurture this thing that has been created, move it forward by thinking big.
Why are some of the Western countries are supporting the rebels while the democratically elected government of Ethiopia is here in place in this country? What is the reason behind this?
That absolutely makes no sense. You're right. A lot of the ideals, the American ideal is about democracy. And when Ethiopia is going through this path of democracy, this is something that should have been supported. The TPLF is a totalitarian regime that ruled Ethiopia for 27 years. That should not get support. But one reason that we've seen in other countries that we think is playing out in Ethiopia is that TPLF was a puppet government. It was controlled by Democrats who really supported the regime and gave it diplomatic cover, and really and beyond even the Obama era, for 27 years, there was getting billions of dollars that was being looted in exchange for becoming a puppet, allowing, in a sense, neocolonialism or Western domination. So basically selling the interest of the Ethiopian people, the interest of the Horn of Africa to the highest bidder. Throughout that reign, The Ethiopian people suffered, many died. A war was Eritrea. Somalia was invaded. I mean, there was so much that was done on behalf of foreign powers. And I think that the current government, the current prime minister, has explicitly said that we're not going to be a puppet for anyone, that we're going to look out for the interest of the Ethiopian people. We're going to be self-sufficient. We're going to respect our sovereignty. And some Western powers see this as a threat because, and then also there's a lot of, of economic integration with Eritrea, Somalia, prosperity. And then you also have the situation of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam that is going to enable Ethiopia and several countries near Ethiopia to be self-sufficient on energy. All this, I think, into that. And there are other forces and nearby countries that don't want Ethiopia to prosper, that want us to fight with each other. So all these geopolitical reasons play into this. But one thing is clear, is that all these forces that are doing all these things, they have zero care for the Ethiopian people. So that is why we have to continue to be united and continue to stand up with our people and with our nation to make sure that Ethiopia is kept safe.
Regarding to the post-war reconstruction program, what should be done in Ethiopia?
Yeah, one is I think we need a lot of healing. We need a lot of healing, emotional healing for all of our people. We need reconciliation, and we also need to rebuild. We need to rebuild our hospitals, our roads, the infrastructure, our schools. We need to bring back our people back on their feet, and also use this opportunity to rebuild better people. And let's make this war the last war we're ever going to see for generations to come. Let this be the end. We've gone through too much pain. Ethiopia has gone through so much pain for generations, for decades, that's enough. Let this be the last one. Let us come together. Let us say no more. And let's start a new era, a new Ethiopia, a new Horn of Africa, where not only we lift our people out of poverty, but we create a prosperous society with justice and with understanding that we are all we have. And that means we stand with each other.
Great. In recent times, the government of Ethiopia is also organizing a national dialogue that to participate all the parties working in Ethiopia to come together and discuss on the future of Ethiopia. What's your comment on this, please?
I think it's absolutely necessary. It's a step in the right direction. Reconciliation is needed. And I think all parties that are peaceful, that are pro-Ethiopian and understand the basic, the basic objective of peaceful dialogue and mutual benefit for the country should be on the table and negotiate. Now, I don't think that organizations that are involved in terrorist activities should, those like people like the TPLF leadership that have caused so much damage should face justice. But among our people, we should be working together to reconcile and to bring peace and to move on. And also, you have to remember, for 27 years, there's been a lot of division and divide and conquer, making us hate each other, making us just think of each other as enemies. This is going to require a lot of work, a lot of rebuilding, a lot of healing, and we're going to need to practice radical love, compassion, and forgiveness to move forward. Because at the end of the day, our single enemy is poverty, and we can defeat poverty together.
What should be the future way for all Ethiopians in order to keep their environment, peace, and stability? What is expected from all Ethiopians?
Yeah, this is a time where we all have to be extra vigilant and making sure that, you know, we look out for each other and that we look out for the country. And that couldn't be an information warfare. It could be an economic warfare, and it could be physical threats on the ground in Ethiopia, where we really have to help each other out. And that is something that every citizen in Ethiopia should be responsible for, and all of us around the world can be responsible to help keep Ethiopia and the environment and safe and welcoming for everyone. And one of the things is also being kind to each other and to respect diversity, to respect the difference of opinion, and that is how we're going to build the new Ethiopia. And I think that we all, every single one of us, have a responsibility and an opportunity to take part in it.
Great, Nebiyu Asfaw. I really appreciate you staying your time, the thing that you shared to us. And lastly, if you have a general message for the people, government of Ethiopia and African countries in general, in connection with the recent happenings in this country, Ethiopia, over to you.
Okay, well, I want to say that Ethiopia is winning. Ethiopia is prevailing. So keep your unity and let's finish the job. Let's finish the job. And I do want to say, for those that celebrate Ethiopian Christmas, I want to say Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
for your time. Thank you very much again. Dear viewers, this will bring us to the end of this edition. I will go on to move by hosting and producing this program. Till the next edition, have a good time.